Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this today's video, as you can see on the screen, that we will be creating a Google Authentication in our Netflix clone project. So I will be cover everything for you guys, like from setting up the OAuth with Google to handling the user authentication. So get ready to streamline the login process and enhance your user experience, and let's take our project security to the next level. So before jumping on the coding part, let's first see how this Google SignIn actually works. So as you can see, we are on the login page of this Netflix, and if I click on this sign in, okay, so let's see what happens. So if I click here, I get this option to choose my account. So let me go with my first account. Let's program. So if I click here, so as you can see, the authentication was quite seamless, and here I can see that I'm able to see my name here as well, like welcome, let's program, with my profile image, and also I get a sign out option, because sign out is also very important. If we don't do it, so we are storing some data in the browser, which is not good. So that's why we have this sign out mechanism as well. And if I click on sign out, so here I can see I'm again on the login page. So let me choose a different account just to prove that that image is dynamic. So if I go with this third one, the Shashi Kumar Yadav, if I choose this one, right, as you can see, right, again I got my name, welcome Shashi Kumar Yadav, with my profile image from the Google and this sign out button. Also, if you scroll down, then you can see something very interesting, that we have created a Netflix clone kind of a project. So here you can see we have listed down all the popular movies on Netflix, the trending TV shows, the now playing movies, and also we have implemented this hover effect where you can see the name of the movie, the voting average, and stuff like that. Okay, so this is all what we have created it in Angular. So once we are done with this authentication part, then we will be focusing on our project, which is Netflix clone. So if you want to get updated about all my upcoming videos, then do subscribe to my channel, so that once I will be releasing this video, so you guys can get notified about this video. Alright guys, so if you're excited to learn and level up your authentication game, then hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and let's get right into the coding. So as you can see, I have already created a project here, which is my Netflix clone YT. And if you don't know how to create project in Angular, so, and also if you know that I have already installed a package here, which is my Tailwind CSS, and I've already configured Tailwind in this project. And if you don't know how to configure Tailwind in your project, then I have already created a video which is installed Tailwind CSS in Angular. So I'm using this same project what I have showcased here in this 3-minute video, like how to install Tailwind CSS in Angular. So you can check out this video, and then once you're done with that video, then you will be have something like similar what I am showing you on the screen. Okay, so once you have this, right, so we don't need this thing, so we can remove it, or we can just put it down here as h1, that welcome to Netflix clone. Okay, and as we have Tailwind, then this h1 will not directly work, because all of the classes will got inherited by Tailwind. So we need to specify a class, and we can say text3xl. Okay, save the changes, and let's run the program, or else you can say your Angular project. So ng serve and -open, that's it. So this will compile your project and it will run on the browser. Let's wait for it. So as you can see, we can see the h1 tag, which is welcome to Netflix clone. Okay, so what is our first job? Our first job is to create the login page first. So let's go ahead and create our component. So I will go here and right click. So I will be using the schematic, or else if you want to do it via Angular CLI, so you can do that as well. So let's go here and let's do it via CLI. So ng, G for generate, C for component, and the component name is login. Okay, so we have created the login component, and as you know that we are using Angular version 16 at the moment, so we are getting standalone by default. So we have created a standalone component for login. Okay, so let's go in the login template, and let's add that the background screen, right, something like Netflix. So let me create a div first. Let me create a div, and I will give a class to this div as absolute. Okay, and just below it I will be using an image. Okay, and the src for the image, right, I will be taking it up from the online. So online we have a lot of website where we can get the image of it. So I'll just take it from my code snippet, and I will just paste it here. Okay, so I will be providing this link in the description, so no need to worry. So you can use the same URL if you want, or else I will also push this code on my GitHub, and I will make it available for everybody, so you can take it from there. So once I have this class as absolute and this image, if I save the changes, and let's go on the UI to check how it looks. So at the moment there is no such change, because we haven't configured the routing. Okay, so once we are on the blank page, I want to show here the login. So let's configure the routing in a standalone project. So for that, let's go in the approute.ts, and in this route array, again it's very easy, right? Just specify the path that the path is blank, then I want to load a component. Okay, I want to load a component, and here you can give the name, like which component you want to load. So load component, and here you can just add it like this. You can say import, specify the path, login / the component name, login component. Okay, and you can just need to specify then and do stuff like this, a.login component. So once you are done till here, then save the changes, and let's see on the browser if there is any change. So as you can see, still there is no change, because again we are missing one point, which is how to configure routing. So we did only 50% here to display it right. So what we need a router outlet. So now let's remove this h1 tag and let's add your router outlet. Okay, so once you add this router outlet, now your routing will be visible inside this container. So now if you go on the browser, it should show the image. Can you see this is how the image looks like? So now on this image, we need to create that login box. So for that, let's go here ahead and create a div. Okay, and inside this div, I will have my heading for that screen, which is my Netflix sign in. Okay, I need to add some bunch of classes here. So let me make use of Tailwind classes. So I will give this as width full, and I will specify for medium screen. Okay, when I say MD is for medium screen. I want to specify the width as 3/12, which is 25%, and this will be my absolute. Okay, I can specify padding of 12 and BG color. So I want to specify it as a black color. So I'll say BG black. Okay, and I can specify the margin from the top, or I can say margin y-axis top, which is 36, and I will say MX auto. Okay, so once we do till there, so as we have absolute right, so I want to make it center. So what I will do, I will say right as 0 and left as 0, save the changes, and let's see how it looks like. Okay, so that's how the page is like at the moment. Okay, so this black spot. Now let's go ahead and style it a bit more. So inside that, whatever text I will have, I'll make it as text white, and this will be my rounded. Let me make it as a rounded card, and the best part is the opacity. So we need to make it a little light. So I'll say BG opacity, and here we get option to choose. So I'll make use of 80, and let's save the changes. Now if you go here, so this is how the cart looks like to me. Let's style it a bit. So inside this h1 also needs some class. So let's put that. So we will make the font as bold. So we can use font bold, and text I want to make it little large like h1. So I have to specify text 3XL, and I'll give some padding on y-axis as 4 maybe. Yeah, we'll check that, and let's save the changes. Now if you go here, so you can see that now we are able to render this Netflix sign in button, but this card is not good. It is taking all the 100% width, which is not required. So the problem here is that we said 3/12, which is wrong. It should be W-3/12. Okay, so now if I save the changes and if I show you there on the browser, so that's how the cards look like. Netflix sign in. Now what I need to do, just below this, I want to render a Google button. So now if you go on Google and check for how to do Google authentication in Angular, so you will get bunch of Medium website or YouTube videos where they are explaining you to do it by using some packages. But I have tried a lot by using those packages, but for me it was not working, because Google has deprecated that now they will not allow you to do any kind of a change. So what I need to do, right, I have went on the official website of Google, developers.google.com, and I have checked for sign in with Google for web. So I will be following all the steps which are provided by Google team. Okay, so step number 1 for me is to copy the script tag and paste it into my index.html file so that I can do sign in my web application. So let's go in the index.html file and paste this script just below the body. So not below, inside the body. So now once this is done, then we have to do some way by which we can render the Google button. So there are some documentation again given by that. You can refer to HTML or JavaScript API reference to add this Google sign-in authentication. So I will be helping you guys to how to do all this in your Angular application, because if you go and read all this method, then this will not make sense, because it is all written for vanilla JavaScript. So we will have to integrate it some way in our Angular application. So once you have imported this, like once you have added this in the body, so next thing what you need to do, right, you have to go inside your login. Okay, so let's go inside your login component, and we need to just make use of a global variable declaration. So we will say here declare, we declare var Google, okay, of type any. So now we will be making use of this Google to do the sign in procedure. Okay, so now let's go inside my ng on init. So let me implement on init lifecycle hook. Okay, this so implemented successfully, and inside this, right, I will have to load that. I'll have to check if my Google account is initialized or not. So inside this I will initialize the Google account. So to do so, what I need to do, I'll say google dot initialize, okay, dot account, sorry, it's google dot account dot id dot initialize, okay, and inside that you will have to pass an object, and this object will have a very important thing, which is client ID. Okay, so you have to get this client ID. So I will tell you how to get this client ID, okay, do not worry, but this guy is very important. Okay, so once you have this client ID, and just below that you will have your callback. Okay, and inside this callback we can get the response. Okay, I will teach you what all these callbacks and stuff, but that's how it is at the moment. Okay, so this is for handling your login. So that's how I initialize the Google ID account. Okay, now but before that, right, I want to render the button. So to render the button, again we will make use of this Google what we have declared on the top. So we will say google.account.id.render button. Okay, and inside this button we can just say document.getElementById. Okay, and this will be my button, or I can say it as Google button. So I will be creating it in the UI, don't worry, but this is how I will have to do. So I have to pass the template here first by using document.getElementById, and just after that I will pass another options here that I can specify the theme of the button that I want to have a filled blue. Okay, don't worry, from where I'm writing all this filled blue and all that I will be explaining you when I'll show you the document. Okay, I can specify the size of my button, that the button should be a large button. I can also specify the shape, specify the width of it. I'll give it as 350 pixel. If you want to do some logo alignment, that also you can do, or you want to have some click listener, that also you can implement it just below this. Okay, so now let me show you from where I'm getting all this information. So if you go on this website, and over here you can see the sign in with Google JavaScript API reference. So this is what I'm using. As I told you, right, I'm using this google.accounts.id initialize. So I can just copy this guy and paste it here, because just in case if I'm missing some spelling, so I can correct that. See, there was some issue in my spelling, so I have corrected it. So that's how the spelling should be. And also about this one, right, this google.id account.id.render button. So I can just paste it here, and I can change it to renderputton. So that's, I think now this is correct. Now, but this is what the information I was talking about. So if you just scroll down here, you can find everything, that what is this field about client ID, what is all those, so you can get it. But let me talk more about the configuration of the button, right? So if you just scroll down in this documentation, so here you can see the data type of this GSI button configuration, that we have type, theme, size, text, shape, and all of those, width. Okay, so this is what the information I was using it to configure my button. But to get this ID, right, to get this document, we need to specify it in the login HTML. So as I told you, right, just below your HTML, you need to render the button. So what I will do, just below h1 I will create a div. Okay, and in this div I will have a ID, and I will say it as Google button btn. Okay, so this name should match with this one what we have created. Okay, so save the changes. So now let's go and see if we are able to render the button. So as you can see that I have my button rendered, that sign in with Google. Okay, but if I click here, right, so that's how it pops up. Why it is empty? Because I don't have any client ID specified. Okay, so the client ID is blank at the moment. So now what we need to do, so now we are able to render the button. So let's do this step. So to do this, right, we have to create, or we have to generate a client ID. To do so, you have to go on a website, I think it's console.cloud.google.com. Okay, if you go on this website, let me choose my account. So let me choose one of my unused account, which is this Tony Stark. And what I need to do, right, okay, let me just do some agreement here, it's fine. Okay, so now what I need to do, I need to create a new project. So I'm showing to you guys from scratch how to create client ID and stuff like that. So let me create a new project here. I will choose the project as Netflix clone white. Okay, and no organization. Okay, so let me create it. So as you can see, now this will create a project for me, that Netflix clone YT. So it might take 1 or 2 minutes, so let's wait for it. Okay, so for me it's already done. So let's select the project. So once you select the project, let's go in the API and services, and let's click on credential. Okay, so once you're on this API and services, so you have two options, credentials and this. So now you have to create a credential, okay, for OAuth. So to create a credential for OAuth, first let's create a OAuth consent screen. So let's go over here and let's try to configure the consent screen. Okay, so now I will be choosing the external option because I want to do it for all the email IDs. I'm not doing it for internal purpose, correct? So let me choose this as external and click on create. Let's give a app name here. I can say Netflix clone YT. Support, I'll give the same email ID of mine. I don't have logo at the moment, so I'm keeping it as a blank. So you can specify the application homepage. So you can just make use of HTTP localhost 4200. Then you can scroll down. You can give the email address what you just gave on the top. So let me use this email ID here and I can click on save and continue. So here you can make use of this scope, like what information you want after authentication. So I can say that user info, email and OpenID connect. So I'll just select the first three options over here, click on update and click on save and continue. Test users, need none, and that's it. So now our Google consent is done. So now we have our app name Netflix clone YT. Now you can go in the credential and you can create a credential from here. So OAuth client ID. So once you click here, so what kind of application we are building, we have to choose that. So for us it's a web application. We can give a name again here, which is Netflix clone YT, and that's about it. So now the important thing is adding the JavaScript origin. So this is very important. So you need to specify the origin here. So let's add the URI. So the URI is the same, right? Localhost 4200. Okay, and also we must specify the domain. So the domain for us is localhost. Okay, and that's it. And we can click on create. So once you click on create, right, so I will be getting this client ID. So this is what I was talking about. This client ID is very important. So let me copy this client ID. Okay, and I can go in my application again and I can paste it here. Okay, and save the change. So now I have my client ID ready. Okay, so once you're till here, which means you're also able to get everything done. So once you have the client ID, now you can go back in your application and you can just refresh it. And let's click on sign in. Let's see what we get now. Okay, so now you can see I'm able to get the option, like I can choose an account to do the login and sign up. Okay, so let me choose my first account. Let's see what happens. It asking me to confirm. I'll say yes, click on confirm. See, nothing got happened. Let's see how to handle the sign in callback. Okay, which means we are able to sign in now, but let's try to do so. If you know, right, we have a callback written here. So let me do a console.log and let me say your response. Let me see what response I get in the console. So now if I go back here, if I click on inspect element, let's go in the console, and if I click on sign in, choose an account, can you see I'm getting a response that I'm getting all the information of the user, that client ID, credentials and all those, the token and everything. Okay, so if you see this token, right, this token is very important. So if I just copy this token, let's copy this token and let's go on the very important website jwt.io and we can decrypt this token. Let's see what is the value we are getting in the token. So if I decrypt this token, right, I get all the user information like name, picture, given name, okay, the expiry of the token on all that. So I'm interested more in name, picture, okay, because I want to display these two information, right, on the top of my Netflix clone. So this is what information I need. Okay, so what I can do, right, the thing is, right, so whenever I'm login, so I'm getting the token in this response. Okay, so if I again show you the console, right, so if I do the console, this is the credential which is very important for me. Okay, I have to somehow decrypt this token and make use of the necessary information to display it on the UI, correct? So what I will do here, rather than doing it directly as a console, what I will do, I will create a method. Okay, I will create a method which will say handle login. Okay, so in the handle login, I will pass the response. Now once the login is success, I will call this dot handle login and I will pass the response. Okay, so what I need to do first in the handle login, so first thing I will have to decrypt the token, correct? So first I will check if I have a response, correct? If you have a response, then you have to decode the token. So once the token is decoded, I have to store it in session. Once this is done, then I have to navigate to home page or browse page. Okay, browse because for Netflix, so that you can browse movies. Okay, so I have to follow. If my login is done, right, so if I have a response in that, then I have to do these three steps. Okay, so to decode a JWT token, it's quite easy. So let me create a private method, decode token. So in this private method, what I will do, I will just return, I will say that json.parse, and I will make use of window function, which is atop, and in that I can pass the token, which is coming from the user. So this will be my token of type string. Okay, token. Everybody knows that what is a JWT token compromises of. Okay, so it has payload, it has so it has first the header, then payload, and then the secret. I've already explained about JWT token. If you really want to learn what is JWT, so maybe you can go ahead and check out this video, JSON Web Token, or else there is one more video which I have created it in a .NET where I've explained in detail about JWT. So you can watch these two parts to get information about JWT. But if you don't know, let me just say that it's JWT token is made up of three things: the header, the payload, and the last one is key. Okay, so we are more interested into the payload, right? And the payload is second one. So what I will be doing, I'll say atop token, okay, token dot split. So I will be splitting it with a dot, okay, dot, and then I will say, and I will take the second one after dot. That's it. So now this will be my credential. Now what I will do, right? So here I have to decode the token. So I'll say const, I'll say response payload, I'll say response, or directly let's say it as a payload. I'll say this dot decode token. I will just pass the response dot credential. So again, if you can make a spelling mistake, so I always prefer to copy and paste so that I don't make any mistake. Okay, so I can pass the credential, and in this response or else in the payload, I will get that information. Okay, so once I got the information, I will be storing it in the session. So let's store it in the session storage. So I'll say session storage dot set item logged in user, and I'll store it as a string. So json.stringify, store the payload. Okay, so once the payload is stored, now I have to navigate. So to navigate, I'll have to make use of router. So let me inject the router. So I'll say private router equals to inject route. Okay, so you can see router is imported on the top. Now to navigate it, so I'll say this dot router dot navigate. Correct. So currently we don't have the navigation for browse, so we will create this component, no worry. Okay, so let's create the component now. So nggc browse. You can create home also, it's all up to you. Okay, but once we have this browse, so we will have to navigate the user to this browse. So let's go in the app route and copy everything here and paste it below. Okay, so now the path is browse. Then I have to load a component which is browse/browse component. Okay, and then this will also be changed to browse component and save the changes. So now I have routing also done, and so after that routing, so this thing should work. Okay, which means this should work. Now let's see what happens. So now if I am on this page, and now if I click on sign in, choose an account, can you see I'm on this page called as browse work. And if I show you my session storage, so let's go in the session storage by clicking on application, session storage, and here you can see all the information what I was talking about. So this will be nothing but my logged in user. So whoever gets logged in my application, the information will be stored. All right, so now let's make the bare minimum header for our Netflix so that we can render the logged in user and the image of the user. Or else what we can do, right, at the moment let's not focus directly on the header, and we can create a card component where I can render the user information. So to create the card component, let me just go here and search for Tailwind profile card, and I'll just select this one, profile card, and all you can do, you can just click on show code. So let me copy all this code so that I can render it directly on my website. So let me open this browse component, and inside the HTML I can paste this code. Okay, so once I paste this, save the changes, and now whenever you are logged in successful, you should be able to see this profile card. Okay, so let's go back again, or also what I will do, where I have this view profile, I will be creating the sign out button. So let me change few things. Rather than view profile, I will change it to sign out. Okay, again remove this href, no need. Alright, so that's how it looks like now at the moment. So now I will be able to display the username, address, phone, email, whatever information I have it in the token, I will be able to show it here on this card. So now the first and the most important thing is to implement the sign out. The sign out is very important. Also I'm not liking that this is weird. So let me make this as cursor pointer. So let's go in the code. Again, I'll show you the power of Tailwind. You just need to use the class cursor pointer and it's done. Okay, it should be done. Alright, so now I have to implement the sign sign out mechanism. So to do so, right, there are two ways by which you can do. Either you can create a auth service and you can handle login and sign up. And if you want to do things let me just go ahead and do it in a very correct way. Let me create a service outside. So let me generate a service auth. Okay, so auth service has been created, and in this again I will have to make use of the variable. So let's declare the global variable Google, and now just below this I will create the sign out service. Okay, again I will have to make use of Google account, google.account accounts.id disable auto select. So this is very important to add. If you don't add this, so this can create some problem. So you need to add this. Again, this is also provided by Google. If you want more information, you can just read this documentation what I was talking about. So it is clearly mentioned over here as well how to successfully sign out. Okay, so this is very important for that. And once you click on sign out, you have to navigate again back to the login page, correct? So for that, let me again inject the router. So router has been injected, and I will say this .router.navigate. Please navigate me to the home page, correct? That's it, and save the change. Now let's use this auth service in your browser. So let's go in the browser component, and I will inject the service auth service, and let's create the method sign out, and I will just say this .auth sign out. Okay, and let's call this method in the HTML. So here this is my button, so I'll say click. If someone clicks it, click on sign out, and you will be redirected to the login page again. So now I think this breaks because I haven't saved the file. So let's save the file, compile success. Let's go back, and if I click on sign out, so it will be safely sign out me and put me to this page. But one more thing to note, that as we are storing some data in session storage, so what we will do whenever we are clicking on sign out, I'll have to clear this data also. So let me copy this key, and what I will do, right, whenever I click on sign out, I can say session storage dot remove item, and all I need to do just paste the key of that. So save the changes. If I click on sign in, so if I go with this Tony Stark email ID, I say confirm. So can you see my data got updated in session storage, but if I click on sign out, the data got removed also. Okay, and that's how we are able to store the information in the session storage and maintain the session. Okay, so now what I need to do, right, currently it's all static. If you just see, right, this name and everything is all static. So I will try to make this all dynamic based on whatever data we have in the session storage. So let's go in the browser. And here I'll need first thing is username, or else I can say it as name rather. What I will do, right, I will again make use of JSON story, like the JSON.parse and all that. So I am storing it as a string, right? So what I need to do, I need to parse it first. So to parse, what I will do, JSON.parse, and then I will say session storage.getItem. So item is logged in user. Okay, and in the logged in user I have a information called as name. Okay, again then I have a user profile. So user profile image, again to get that I'll say I can copy paste. Okay, and in terms of name I will make use of picture. And you can ask me, Ashiv, from where you're getting this information. So let me just show you. If you go in the session storage, click on this logged in user, see you have all this information called as a name somewhere here, name, and you have picture, you have email ID, you have email verified and everything, all this information. So you can make use of this information and you can display it directly here. Okay, so at the moment I have name, I have email address, correct? So I will be using only those two. So let me go here and make use of string interpolation. So in terms of John Doe, I will be making it dynamic by saying it as name, and the profile image I can again bind it, the property binding. Let's remove this. I will say user profile image and save the changes. So once I does that, so now can you see I'm able to see my name. Okay, let me also update the email as well below and change it here to email. Okay, so for that again I haven't added the email, so I'll have to do one more step. Copy this, change it to email, and again here change it to email. Now I will be able to use it. Add it here as email and you're done. If I save the change on both the side, now I can see this is rendering dynamically. Okay, so I don't have any address in my Google account information, so that's why it is not displaying, but whatever the information was important for me to display, I was able to show it here. Okay, so that's how my card component look like. So now if I click on sign out, I come back, if I sign in, and if I try to log in with ExpressVPN, confirm, so it should show the profile image from Google, and it will also show the dynamic name and dynamic email. Okay, and you can safely sign out as well. Let me again show it to you if you have any doubt for this one. So you just need to add name, user profile, and email dynamically, which we are storing it in the session storage, and that's how you are able to display it in the UI. Okay, and you know from where I get this. So to get this template, right, I got it from Tailwind website, so you can also get it from there, and you can just change the static data to dynamic the way I did. Okay, and that's all about this Google authentication. Okay, so that's how we are able to do the authentication. So this was only just authentication, we are not doing authorization at the moment. This is Google things is only helping us to do authentication. If you want to do authorization, then you can make use of Firebase, or also maybe if you are using Node.js project, then you will have to make use of those callback things. You can take the token, send it to Node.js, Node.js will validate, and then it will do authorization in the backend of Node.js and stuff like that. Okay, so currently we have just only focused on authentication. And that's a wrap up for our exploration of Google authentication in Angular. I hope you found this journey into securing and seamlessly authentication of your Netflix clone to be more informative. And if you really enjoyed the video and found value in the content, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you have any question, thoughts, or topic would you like me to cover in future, please drop them in the comments below. The development community is all about like sharing knowledge, okay, and I'm here to help you on your coding adventure. So as you know that sharing is caring, alright? So if you think that this video could benefit someone else, then don't hesitate to hit that share button. Spread the knowledge and let's grow this together as a community. Also, for more exciting content, to stay up to date with the latest trend in web development, be sure to subscribe to Let's Program and click that subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on the latest tech tutorials and coding insights. Alright, so thank you for being part of this video and keep supporting guys. Until next time, happy coding, and I will see you in the next video.